In my life, I've played a lot of sports, but I must say now my favorite one is squash for the play value of it. Like watching sports is a different thing, but actually playing it, I reckon squash is really good because it just has everything you need. So it's versing someone else, you've got the competition. Also, unlike cricket, you're always playing, you're always in the action.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't last too long, it's really intense, like it's high intensity. And just the dynamic visual approach of it, like a fast ball moving everywhere, left and right, it's like 360. I don't think any other sport really has that.
True.
So that's what I think is my favorite sport to play. But apart from that, as with all sports, there's like life lessons you can learn out of it. And unless you're wanting to be the world's best at a particular sport or a professional, mostly we play sports for what it brings into the rest of our life.
Yeah.
Which of course, there's many things like fitness and just social groups and community. But today we're going to be talking about, because we both played squash for many, many years. We used to play really regularly, and we're just getting back into it now after COVID. Everything's opening up, so we went yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. So we thought it might be topical to talk about the things that we've learned through squash. So, do you want to start or should I? We each have 3 points.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with my first one. So the main thing I've learned from squash is tenacity, like the ability to stay at something and persevere with it. Like, for example, sometimes I found myself absolutely exhausted, and I was thinking, oh, I really need a break, I can't. But then that's when I would focus more on other areas, and it would enable me to think outside the box, like try and make moves or do things that would expend less energy. So it taught me to the rewarding aspect of staying at something and persevering with it.
And what I like about that point as well is it's for the immediate term and the long term. So you have to, week after week, you need to show tenacity to keep showing up, keep getting better. And I think a good drive for that is because you're having fun at the same time. But also during the same game, like within the game, you're getting slaughtered by some 80-year-old. And it's like, you don't know what to do, you have no plan.
Yeah.
But you still need to just keep going, think on your feet, try something new as you're going.
That's right. Yeah, which ties into my second point.
Okay.
But go on with yours.
Okay. Well, to be honest, that wasn't nearly as long as I thought we'd spend on that point. But that's okay. My first point was kind of ties into what you were saying, because I have to combat what my point with tenacity, basically. So like as all young people, we kind of stay in our own social groups. We were at uni mostly playing squash, and I didn't come in contact with old people much at all. And I say old people, at our social squash it varied a lot, people who played, but there were people that were like, 70, 80s.
70s, 80s, absolutely.
And they were like, you could tell they were old, and they moved like not as tenaciously as we did. But so for one, it's just literally meeting old people one-on-one and seeing their spirit and attitude. I mean, it sounds a bit strange to say, but that really does teach you a lot about life, just like communicating with totally random old people and hearing what they did for a career and how happy they are now and what makes them happy. But then also the other thing that old people bring into the picture is I guess overall you could call it wisdom, but more so in this case it's like their sneakiness and tactician nature and their experience. So like the compliment I would get the most in squash is good running. Yeah, because the old people, they love to they're just on another level than you on experience.
Yeah.
Like, so they would on purpose make you run from that corner to this corner to that corner and this to this corner and get you tired.
Yeah.
And another one you were saying as well that I never really thought of actually, but now that you when you said it, I noticed it. If I'm losing, I would maybe be too tenacious and keep chasing the point.
Yeah.
Whereas an older person would realize, okay, I'm losing here. I'm gonna just
Back off.
I'm gonna back off, give this point up,
Yeah.
and I'll get the next one. I'm not gonna exhaust myself
Yeah.
for this one particular point, which you're probably gonna lose anyway. You know, yeah, that's about it. But yeah, just I think more so if we're looking at life in general, it's just getting in. I guess it's always just jumping between social bubbles is a good idea.
Yeah.
But meeting old people to me was really eye-opening, which I didn't get in other sports, which is a bit interesting. I'm not sure why. I guess golf you might find that, but I never.
What about cricket?
Cricket, they're like middle-aged.
Yeah, true.
There's a couple of 60s, but nothing like with squash.
True.
Okay, that's my first point. They're kind of tied nicely together with your tenacity and my old people.
Yeah, and my second point actually ties in well with all of that. It's the ability to make quick decisions. Like, even though I found myself doing that in cricket as well, squash is just very different because it's also very dynamic. Like, you're constantly moving towards the ball, and there's various different things you can do with it because you're strategizing while you're running towards the ball. You're having to think the ball's coming really fast, and as you're rushing towards the ball, you're simultaneously making like out of 100 different, in fact millions of different possibilities. You're collapsing it into one like action.
Exactly.
And that decision process is just like, initially when I first played squash, it was just like too much, and even to this day, it's one of the things that I, am constantly improving, that ability to just make quick decisions, and that's what squash has definitely improved for me.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's interesting as well. Like when you're chasing the ball, you have to keep an eye on what the other person's doing.
Yeah.
All of what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, you have to keep the other person in mind, and
strategize.
And strategize on who is he.
Yeah.
Like, what's his technique like?
That's right.
And all of that is happening like in the background, because they're not. It's not like, I think both of us are by how we grew up, like really intellectual people. But it's almost like the intellect's like way out of its depth in that situation. Like you can't be commanding everything. It's all just, you have to let it happen.
Yeah.
It's a bit strange actually. My point is so in line with that. Okay, my next point was like letting go of rigid techniques.
Yeah.
So like I want to, this is again for just actually life application in general that I learned, but I'll just start with squash. And I'll probably say if you want to be a really good squash player, that's not a good way to go about it. You probably just want to get a coach and drill down the wall, drill it, and that's how you'll be like a pro player. But that's not really what I'm going for. I'm going for I want to enjoy it as much as possible. And I think I'm not a great player, but I'm a pretty good player. I can go to any squash court and give a guy a bit of running around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you want to get in that dynamic mindset, it's not that you should have bad technique. You need to keep the technique in mind, but it's almost like there's a part of your brain that needs to let go of this whole technique thing.
Yeah.
You need to get in the flow of it. Almost like, like some fighters, like Conor McGregor, he's just got so much flow about him.
That's right.
And that's actually one of the reasons I like to play squash. And I feel like my physique is built for that as well. You just enter a really good flow and you're jumping from one corner to the other. The ball's always just out of reach and there's like nice flicks. And like you were saying, you have to keep in mind all of these variables. There's so many, like how bouncy the ball is, what the temperature is that affects how bouncy the ball is, who you're playing, how many people are you playing, is it the beginning of the game, how tired are you, how tired is he?
That's right.
So many variables. And the tiredness as well. And all of that just to me combines, and you have to just let go. And it's almost magical, mystical, letting your body take over.
Yeah.
A part of that, of course, means that you're not always going to win, but that's fine. You probably are, by having that approach, sacrificing some wins. But even if you have great technique, probably drill that into you, and then at some point you need to let go of all of that. Trust in your body that you have it with you, and then just
let your subconscious take over and just drive.
Exactly.
Without consciously having to think.
That's exactly it. But also that can be applied to so many areas of life.
Yeah.
Like anything you want, like public speaking or work. I think especially for work, a lot of the time I would want to go into a meeting and have like dot points, what am I going to say, and have everything like really packaged up and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But actually you just need to
let it go. Yeah.
Just let it go, and just everyone's talking in this important meeting, let's say.
And all your stress is down.
Yeah, your notes, let's say, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just have to, like, there might be a big meeting with 10 people there and they're just talking, they're just listening, all of a sudden everyone's looking at you with some question.
Yeah.
You just need to let it go and see what's already within you.
Yeah.
And let it flow.
That's right.
And that can be applied to so many situations. I don't know if you want to share any, or the audience wants to share any. Probably in uni I could have used that a lot more. I used to have like a really rigid technique approach, and in cricket actually especially. I would try a lot of techniques, but I would be so... Cricket's a bit different, of course, because it's like very intermittent and braked, and you're like waiting for the bowler to come and do your thing.
Yeah.
But
I think there is an aspect of building good technique as well. Like, you want good habits. You want to be able to recognize your bad habits and improve them. And that's where repetition and technique does come into it. But at the same time, you're right. Like, I think the mindset needs to be a flow mindset within the framework of like excellent technique. Like,
probably the best athletes in the world would agree with my point ultimately, or what you're just saying as well.
Yeah.
Hammer down the technique, spend loads of time on it, but on game day,
let it flow.
And that's probably what they do in interviews as well afterwards.
Yeah.
They just let it go.
True.
Okay. Well, so far we've been great in tying all these points together. It's been seamless. We haven't really planned this in great intricacy, but tactics, that was your next point. Can you tie that in to what I'm saying, or we're just going to start a new dot point?
Well, I think tactics comes into all of that, and I think we've already spoken about like strategizing and like the ability to make quick decisions, and you've already mentioned like gauging your opponent and where they are on the court. And in terms of like a broader life lesson I've learned from that area, that domain, is to play, and especially as you were saying about old people, I've kind of learned that sometimes it's not about working like really hard on something, it's also about working smart. Like, you don't just want to work super hard at something, you want to be sure that the hard work you're doing is also smart. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like the mule pushing the cart when it gets any reward.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, you could be slaving away at something, slaving, and then it's potentially not going anywhere. But like, you want to be sure that you've captured the direction you want it to go in, and you want it to be working smart. Like, it's for example,
give me a squash-related example.
A squash-related example of working smart, not hard. Well, it's old people.
Yeah.
They're basically the best example of that, because they're only working smart. They're not working hard. Like, every time I'd play an old person, he'd maybe take 2 steps for every point. And as you said, they work so smart. They don't chase every point. They go, he's going to get this point. Let it go.
Yeah.
And just walk away from that point.
And I guess you slowly pick it up. Although to me, I would probably say on the point about tactics is I'm bad at picking up their tactics.
Yeah.
Probably I just concentrate more and more on, because I think I enjoy it. I don't think there's a problem with that. And I that actually ties in really good with my next point. Man, this is so seamless. Is that to me, squash compared to other sports, I could feel how it is a drug, which of course scientifically is true. When you play sport, you release all kinds of chemicals.
Endorphins,
And I think one of the reasons is because it's so one-on-one competitive, and because it's so high intensity, probably your muscles release different chemicals. But yeah, with the tactics, I would probably more combat it with, like you were saying, like the youthful approach and the tenacious approach, because I enjoy it. That's probably that is why I play squash. I don't really go and play to win. I play because it pumps me full of good energy. I leave there feeling tired but high.
That's it.
So on your point about tactics, I'm probably not the best in picking that up. You said you learned that. I've noticed it, but not brought it up into my own life through squash anyway. Because I would combat it with, I'm just going to be more youthful, more intense, be a good runner. Although of course you do pick things up. Like I play a lot more drop shots now, maybe too much. You're trying to get too fancy sometimes, and then you just disappoint yourself. But yeah, on the point of how sport is a drug, the squash has definitely taught me that. And now, sometimes when I feel a bit down, I will literally just put shoes on and go for sprints, not like long running. Just go sprinting for 1 minute up the street, rest for a minute, sprint back to the house, and it gives you like a proper rush. It's not like taking something hardcore, but it's like having a coffee.
Absolutely.
You can really, maybe it's just because it's in your legs. I don't know if that's maybe what it is. And another part that I think is a huge chemical aspect to it is the competition. When you're actually versing someone, and let's say maybe it's just my ego, I'm sure a lot of young men are like this. If you're versing someone who's like 80 and you're like 8-0 down, like things activate in your body. Like whether you'll do what you need, like you will employ tactics, you'll think of what can I do to beat this guy. You're fully intense. All your worries are gone, you're just like in the zone, and it's chemical, that's what it feels like to me. And it's healthy chemical.
That's right.
You're building up, not like bodybuilder muscle, but you're building up muscle, building up cardio, and feeling great.
And I think that's positive stress, like you're stressed in that moment, but at the same time it's like, it's good stress, like I think you're driven, it's like competitive stress.
Exactly, that's probably what stress is evolved to do, as opposed to like stressing all day is unhealthy, but having stress in that moment is actually good for you.
Really healthy, that's right.
And I remember with one friend, I mentioned this earlier to you, our friend whose name starts with a V, who also plays squash. I just want to mention his name for privacy reasons, I guess. But when we would play in front of women, especially if he has a crush on one, his intensity level would go up so noticeably, like 3 notches higher than normal. And normally I would give myself like let's just say a 70% chance of beating him. But when I was versing him, I could feel like, whoa. Like it's like being in a strong headwind, like there's some intensity here that you would like need to pick up as well. And that's what I how does explain? Like sometimes when men come together to do sports, you're like feeding off each other and pushing each other higher. The competitive nature is like a brotherhood. But it's so intense, especially when there's an audience. Like at the end of the day, always you're like, good game. You want to play again.
That's right.
But it's such a chemical drive that you get naturally. It's really helpful.
Absolutely. But did that drive you to play better as well?
It did. I never had a crush watching me. But definitely if there was, at the first time it happened, I was like surprised. But then afterwards, it would feel like, this is now like our event. When the girls come to watch, it's like a hardcore session. And it would excite me, As opposed to my friends just coming in because I guess it's maybe it's a bit of a primal thing, which is nice to come in contact with. You don't get that sitting at a desk job, for instance, which I do for a living.
That's
right
right.
at the moment. So
Yeah, I think squash definitely, like sport in general, has so many like broader life lessons that you can learn from it. And I mean, I think we've captured, I mean,
tiny amounts.
exactly a small fraction of the actual experience and the life experience you get from playing social squash and playing competitive events.
I guess some of the most common ones, which also have taught me, but this is more general to sports, but like how to lose is so important.
Yeah,
How to, like when you win, how to be happy in that, but not to be like a dick about it, to just be
That's right.
humble in victory, but enjoy it still. To
True.
feel like a champion
true.
is good. Yeah, that's I guess the two most common ones that all sports teach you. And the ones that we gave is just very, what do you call it? Individual to us.
Yeah, that's it.
And actually, I was a bit surprised. I thought we might have clashing ones.
Yeah.
They all gel together really well,
They
but
do.
they were different.
That's it.
And yeah, maybe you guys can tell us what you learned about squash, or if you disagree with any of our points, or maybe whatever sport you play, how you feel, what sort of lessons they might have taught you in that sport, but for life broader in general. And as always, I will let Arnav sign off with the cushion.
As always, thanks for watching. And Gerard has invested in this pillow just for your love and for you to like, share and subscribe this video of his channel.